Men, the truth is that some women are masters at hiding their affairs. It's not just about one secret relationship managed in the shadows. Many women have developed the ability to juggle multiple lovers at once without ever getting caught. Today, I'll expose 7 sneaky ways women juggle multiple lovers without you knowing, and how they keep it all hidden in plain sight. Understanding these methods isn't about becoming paranoid or assuming every woman is unfaithful. It's about recognizing the specific tactics that women use when they are maintaining multiple relationships simultaneously, so you can identify the patterns if they appear in your life. Before we dive in, hit subscribe and leave a comment if you've ever noticed anything unusual in your relationship that you couldn't quite explain. It might just be the first step to discovering the truth. Stay until the end, because I'll reveal what these tactics mean collectively and what you should do if you recognize multiple methods being used against you. Way 1. She keeps separate phones or devices. Many women who maintain multiple relationships will keep a second phone or hidden device specifically for their affairs. This isn't about occasionally using a work phone for personal matters. This is a deliberately maintained separate communication system designed specifically to compartmentalize different relationships and keep them from intersecting. One phone is for daily life, for conversations with you, for normal social interactions, for the legitimate parts of her existence. The other phone is exclusively for private conversations with other lovers, a completely separate digital life that exists parallel to the one you're aware of. The separation is absolute. Different contacts, different apps, different communication patterns, different personas even. The phone is hidden in strategic locations where you would never think to look or would never have access. It might be kept in her car, locked in a desk drawer at work, hidden in her gym bag, or stashed in a purse she uses for specific occasions. The hiding places are chosen carefully to ensure you'll never accidentally stumble upon it, while also keeping it accessible enough for her to check regularly. This is the ultimate protection method, because by separating devices, she controls her emotional investment in different relationships without raising suspicion. Each phone represents a different version of herself, a different relationship, a different life. The compartmentalization is physical and visible in the form of separate devices, making it easier for her to mentally separate the relationships as well. She'll quickly check her second phone during bathroom breaks or when you're not around, seizing brief moments of privacy to maintain her other relationships. Watch for patterns. Does she always take her purse to the bathroom? Does she seem to get texts or calls on a device you never see? Does she have a phone that's supposedly just for work, but she guards it like it contains state secrets? These behaviors reveal the existence of communication channels you're not supposed to know about. The sophistication of this method lies in its simplicity. As long as you never discover the second device exists, she can maintain entire relationships right under your nose. Every conversation, every arrangement, every intimate exchange happens on technology you don't even know exists. It's compartmentalization in its purest form. Way 2. She perfects the art of the routine. Alibi. She develops consistent alibis that sound perfectly normal and become part of the expected rhythm of life. I'm working late tonight. I'm just out with friends from the gym. I have a quick meeting after work. Book club is this evening. Each excuse is so well rehearsed, so consistently used, so integrated into her regular schedule that you never question it because it seems like a normal part of her life. Repetition makes an excuse believable. When something happens regularly, it stops seeming suspicious and starts seeming routine. She creates a sense of normalcy around her absences, so you stop asking questions or requiring explanations. The alibis become part of the fabric of your shared life, expected events that don't require verification or concern. She has work events she attends regularly that conveniently happen to coincide with meeting another lover. These aren't occasional excuses pulled out when needed. These are standing appointments, recurring obligations, regular commitments that are built into her schedule in ways that seem completely legitimate. The regularity is the camouflage. Because it happens every week or every month, it doesn't raise suspicion the way a random excuse would. The psychology behind this is sophisticated. By making her affairs routine rather than exceptional, she removes the element of suspicious deviation from normal patterns. You're not looking for what happens regularly. You're looking for unusual behavior, unexpected absences, sudden changes in routine. But her affairs are the routine, disguised as normal life obligations. Pay attention to standing appointments that never seem to vary, that she's defensive about if you suggest joining her, that result in her being unavailable at predictable times. Notice if these routine obligations make her happier, more energized, or if she puts unusual effort into her appearance before attending them. The pattern reveals that these aren't actually the boring obligations she presents them as. Way 3. She keeps emotional distance at home. When a woman is emotionally invested in someone else, or multiple someone else's, she starts withdrawing from her current partner. The emotional energy required to maintain multiple relationships is finite, and she conserves her energy by pulling back from you. She's physically there, sharing your space, going through the motions of the relationship, but mentally and emotionally, she's absent, already invested elsewhere. You'll notice a lack of affection that doesn't stem from any specific conflict or problem. There's no fight that caused the withdrawal, no incident that explains the distance. The warmth just gradually disappears, replaced by polite coexistence. Fewer deep conversations happen because she's having those conversations with other people. She seems distracted because her mind is occupied with managing multiple relationships and the logistics of keeping them all separate. She's intentionally creating emotional space to focus on the other relationships without feeling guilty or overwhelmed. By emotionally detaching from you, she makes room in her psychological life for others. The detachment also serves another purpose. It reduces her guilt. If she's not emotionally close to you anymore, if the relationship feels more like a routine than a romance, then her betrayal feels less significant, more justified. She stops asking about your day because she's not invested in your daily experience anymore. When you ask about hers, her responses are quick and nonchalant, lacking detail or emotional content, designed to end the conversation quickly rather than create connection. She's protecting her affairs by limiting emotional exchange with you, preventing accidental slips about where she's been or what she's been doing. This emotional distance is often one of the first signs men notice even if they can't articulate what's changed. Something feels off, the connection feels weaker, intimacy has decreased, but there's no clear reason why. The reason is that her emotional capacity is being directed elsewhere, toward the other men in her life, leaving little for you. Way 4. She uses girls' nights or family time. As cover, girls' night out or family visits become perfect cover stories for maintaining affairs because these excuses are hard to argue against. These events often involve other people who can theoretically corroborate her story, and challenging them makes you seem controlling or untrusting. She can disappear for hours, or even overnight, and return with minimal scrutiny because the excuse seems innocent and socially acceptable. By embedding these events into the fabric of her schedule, she gains the freedom to conduct affairs without suspicion. These aren't occasional excuses she uses in emergencies. These are regular occurrences that become expected parts of her social calendar. The regularity makes them invisible, routine enough that you stop paying attention to them. She says she's staying with her sister overnight or going out with her book club friends, but she's actually meeting someone else during that time. The beauty of these alibis is that they're difficult to verify without seeming paranoid. Are you really going to call her sister to confirm she's there? Are you going to demand to meet all her girlfriends to verify they actually exist? The social cost of verification is high, which is exactly why these alibis work so well. Watch for patterns in these excuses. Does girls' night always happen when her phone is mysteriously off or when she's unreachable for hours? Does she come back from family visits seeming energized rather than drained the way family obligations usually leave people? Does she get defensive or angry if you suggest joining her for family events or meeting up with her and her friends? The sophistication here is using socially sacred excuses. Questioning her need to spend time with female friends or family makes you the bad guy, makes you seem insecure or controlling. She's wrapped her infidelity in the protective armor of activities that are culturally considered healthy and important, making them almost impossible to challenge without seeming unreasonable. Way 5. She develops friendships. With men you don't know, she starts making new male friends through social media, work events, gym memberships, or hobby groups. These friendships appear harmless on the surface, just people she knows from various parts of her life. But they're actually a cover for her emotional and sometimes physical connections with men who are more than friends. Emotional affairs often start under the guise of friendship, and these relationships allow her to get the attention and validation she craves without raising immediate suspicion. By labeling them as friends, she creates plausible deniability. When you question the relationship, she can act offended that you would sexualize a simple friendship, making you feel guilty for being suspicious. She frequently talks about her new coworker or gym buddy, but becomes defensive if you ask too many questions about him. His name comes up regularly in her stories, but the details about him remain vague. She'll mention what he said or what they did together, but if you try to dig deeper into who he actually is, or suggest meeting him, she changes the subject or gets irritated. The psychology behind this tactic is sophisticated. By openly mentioning these men, she creates the impression of transparency. She's not hiding that they exist, so surely there's nothing to hide, right? This false transparency is actually misdirection. She's hiding the depth of the relationships by openly acknowledging their existence, making you feel paranoid for suspecting something more is happening. Pay attention to how she talks about these friends. Is there admiration in her voice? Does she light up when mentioning them? Does she compare you to them, even subtly? Does she defend them emotionally when you express any concern? The emotional investment reveals that these aren't casual friendships. They're relationships that matter to her in ways that threaten your relationship. Way 6. She masterminds fake arguments to hide her affairs. She picks fights or starts petty arguments over trivial matters to create emotional distance and make her absence seem justified. You never listened to me. I just need some space. You don't appreciate what I do. These arguments appear to be about relationship issues, but they're actually tactical moves designed to create cover for her affairs. After an argument, she decides to sleep on the couch or take a long walk alone or stay with a friend to cool off, giving her the freedom to see the other man under the guise of needing space after the fight. The argument provides the excuse and the emotional justification for her to leave, to be unreachable, to spend time away without raising suspicion. By creating emotional chaos, she convinces you that the relationship is going through a tough patch, making her disappearing act seem completely normal. If the relationship is struggling, then her need for space makes sense. Her emotional distance feels explained by the conflict rather than by her infidelity. The fights become camouflage for the real reason she's pulling away. These arguments often seem to come out of nowhere or escalate beyond what the actual issue warrants. She'll take a minor disagreement and blow it up into a major conflict, creating the emotional justification she needs to storm out or demand space. The disproportionate reaction is the tell that the argument isn't really about what she's claiming it's about. Watch for patterns. Does she pick fights right before she needs an excuse to be absent? Do arguments conveniently escalate when she wants to leave or be unreachable? Does she seem almost eager for conflict at certain times? The strategic nature of the arguments reveals their tools rather than genuine relationship conflicts. Way 7. She manipulates your trust and plays the victim. She uses emotional manipulation to gain your trust and lower your guard, making you feel secure when you should be alert. She might be extra affectionate at times, reassuring you of her love, making you feel guilty for having any doubts. This manipulation keeps you from investigating further when red flags appear because you don't want to seem like you don't trust her. She'll claim you're overthinking or being paranoid when you notice something suspicious. Instead of addressing your concerns directly, she reframes them as your personal problem, your insecurity, your irrational jealousy. This gaslighting makes you doubt your own perceptions and instincts, convincing you that the problem is your suspicion rather than her behavior. She might act like a victim of your accusations, flipping the narrative and making you feel guilty for questioning her. When you ask where she's been, she gets defensive and says, "I can't believe you'd accuse me of this after everything I've done for you." She turns your legitimate concerns into attacks on her character, making you the aggressor and herself the wounded party. This is sophisticated psychological manipulation designed to redefine reality so you question your instincts and stop suspecting her. By making you feel guilty for being suspicious, she trains you not to question, not to investigate, not to trust your gut. Each time you back down from your suspicions because she's made you feel unreasonable, she gains more freedom to continue her affairs without interference. The victim role is particularly effective because it triggers your protective and caring instincts. Instead of investigating further, you comfort her. Instead of demanding answers, you apologize. Instead of trusting your instincts, you override them to avoid hurting her feelings. This emotional manipulation is perhaps the most insidious tactic because it turns your love and care into weapons against your own awareness. If you recognize multiple methods from this list being employed in your relationship, you're dealing with someone who's not just casually unfaithful, but systematically deceptive. These aren't accidental behaviors or minor boundary violations. These are sophisticated tactics used by women who are deliberately maintaining multiple relationships through careful planning and emotional manipulation. The harsh truth is that women who use these methods are unlikely to change because these tactics require too much investment and planning to be temporary measures. Someone who keeps separate phones, builds routine alibis, creates fake arguments, and gaslights you about your concerns isn't making a mistake. She's running a system, and systems don't dismantle themselves. Remember, you deserve a partner who's faithful, transparent, and honest. Don't accept elaborate deception and manipulation as the price of a relationship. Trust your instincts, recognize the tactics, and have enough self-respect to walk away from anyone who treats your relationship as one of several they're maintaining simultaneously. Stay strong, stay aware, and never let someone gaslight you into doubting what you can clearly see.